So for the next few videos I will be going over the tools that I use to make my armor. Now first up, cutting. There's lots of different ways to cut metal and they all range in price and convenience, directly correlated. Thin snips, aviation snips. These work surprisingly well and they're quite cheap. You can pick one of these up for about 100 rand or call that $10 if you're not from South Africa. And you can cut out reasonably easily with these. This is an old piece of metal that's just lying around here, and I'll just show you how quickly. Here you go, just like that. Not much force required. You can see how thin my arms are. So the only problem with tin snips are they leave a little pattern. I don't think you can see it on the camera, but they leave like a sawtooth pattern on the side of the metal, which you will have to grind out afterwards. It's not a problem. You're going to have to finish off the edges later on anyway. For straight cuts and very slight curves, I like to use this. This is also a tin snip, but it is a straight metal and shear. I will show you in a minute how I use these. Other options are power tools. You can use a jigsaw with a metal cutting blade. It's loud, it's dangerous, it shakes everything around. Not recommended, but if you like living on the edge, go for that. Cutting big pieces of plate into smaller pieces of plate, angle grinder with a slitting disc works really well. This is I think a 1mm slitting disc. You can get these really cheap. You buy them in big packs like this. Now if you have more money, you can go for something like a power shear. Works really well, also loud, works much better than a jigsaw. And then the Rolls Royce of cutting metal is the Beverly Shear. It is a table mounted manual hand shear, which is known as a throatless shear. It cuts corners really well, it can cut long pieces, and it will basically last forever. But you're looking at $500 to $600 on eBay for a second-hand one. So, not having that kind of money, we are going to go with this option. So, I have marked the pattern of a lane that I will be cutting out of this piece of metal. First of all, we will grind this pattern out and then cut it with our shear. Safety. There you have it. Cut smaller, so now we can proceed to cut it out with our shear. Now, what I like to do with these shears is put it into a bench vise. If you don't have one, I'd recommend you get one. It makes life easier. You can also stick this part into a log or into a hole or something that just keeps it held really tight. So, drag it into the vise, make sure it's nice and tight. Now you might think to yourself, it's almost a bit short. You need a bit more leverage to be able to cut something like this properly. That's what these pieces of conduit is for. And now we can proceed to cut. This will leave marks on the inside of your pattern. So you need to make sure that you're cutting on the right side so that the marks are on the inside. If it's on the outside, it's going to make your armor look terrible. Don't want two marks on your arm. Now, when making right-hand turns, it gets a little bit tricky. You will have to tilt the plate down on the side that you're holding it and cut as you're tilting it. This will give you that slight outside curve, and then as you're cutting back, now we're going to cut to the left hand side. So as you're going left, it's a lot easier you just turn the plate as you're cutting. Now for this last end, it turns back out to the right again. So you tilt the plate down and make it come back. There's that part. Let's just cut this little end off. And there you go. Easy as that. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, please hit that subscribe button and hit that like button at the bottom of the screen. Thanks a lot.